back to Sunrise Daily. Mr. Kachon Onuju joins us now. He's a public affairs analyst. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me again.
We're looking at this unfortunate incidents, explosions here and there. From your perspective, have we been able to actually see beyond the facade? Because some analysts have said there's actually a facade about this group. Have we been able to look beyond that, identify what the issues are with a view to solving the problems?
I would put it to the same Nigerian disease because a while ago I would say Nigeria is paying the price it must pay for its acquiescence with fraudulent killings of its citizens and doing nothing. From the 50s, 60s, 80s, 90s till date, there has been mass killing of Nigerians in northern Nigeria on a mass scale. The Igbos reacted to it in the 60s and went into a civil war. It continued from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s till date, in different names. Sometimes they call it Sharia riot, they call it Maitasine, they call it religious killing. It's the same pattern of killing Nigerians. Now, what's going on? No single successful prosecution has been brought for all those mass killings of citizens in northern Nigeria.
Not even the recent ones that have been sentenced to
today,
long-term jail term?
The only thing you have seen that is different, it's when Goodluck became president, instead of seeing the crisis as religious killings, no, the government saw it as terrorism. And that's why, in reply to that, we are now fighting those who kill Nigerians in mass numbers. Not for the first time, because it's been available with us. What you will ask is, why didn't the past leaders address these mass killings in northern Nigeria seriously? Because you didn't do it. It became an issue. And now you brought democracy, and you remove from those who had the positions of entitlement, their previous positions, with no displacement value. What do you expect? Like in Iraq, you remove a ruling minority and you replace it with plural rule. What you have is forceful problem.
But explosions we've seen have targeted all manner of people.
Targets could be for reasons. The target you saw in Kaduna the other day is a target I thought I expected long before now. If a man is used to killing with guns, nothing stops him from also killing from around himself with guns. You know, I thought the APC had a problem, and since they had all the insinuations that they had knowledge of those who kill, I thought when they want Buhari to leave for the primaries, and he does not, they might do this to him.
Don't you think that this perception or perspective can or will becloud our thinking from seeing what the
real issues are? It does not becloud my thinking, because the Igbo said, Ubumananamma. So it's those who are used to killing with knife that will also advise that those around them. It's like eating with the devil. When you feed with the devil and the devil feels uncomfortable about you, he will take you out. I expect when this happened, my mind was, has the APC primary started in earnest? Because this is it.
Why do you think it's APC?
If you know what it is, Buhari is a front runner. Buhari, for me, is the best tool that the PDP has had since inception of democracy. He runs, it's easy to describe him. Those who will vote against him are entrenched, they will vote against him. You bring somebody fresh that's new, then you might see new perspective. But because he will not leave, yes, some of them who don't want him would like to remove him by force so that they can get the ticket.
But these are all speculations.
Well, speculations just as others have insinuated. For me, Buhari has been the best tool that the PDP has had since the inception of democracy.
Shouldn't we be talking about the security agencies moving in, investigating quickly too?
They have always done that.
Their results.
Without the security agencies' strength, Nigeria will have been overrun by the intentions of those who intend.
Any findings publicized that you know of?
Oh, well, for them to have gotten Oguche just the other day, for them to have been able to say, yes, the bombing that happened in Emap was built at the farmers market. The security agencies have done very well. As far as I'm concerned, we've had the best SSS so far.
Did you hear the reason why he was released in 2011?
Who was released?
Oguche.
Well, the reason he was released is the same reason as others. At the beginning of this very crisis, most people who were arrested, including Kabiru Sokoto, were released because they were still listening. The agencies were still listening to the voices of people of importance in society. But when you release them, the boys will come back. That means those people you say are people in society that are of strength really cannot keep what they say they can do. And that's why you're seeing these boys keep coming back. He's not the first, Kabiru Sokoto. So it's the same recurring decimal thing.
Is that part of the real reason of what's behind all this?
Well, part of the reason, the releasing. But I agree, people were released. But why were they released? Because at that time, those in charge of security did not understand what's going on. The only thing that has changed in Nigeria between now and the 60s, 70s, 80s is the security apparatchik and the managers of it. The new managers of our security now believe that those who kill Nigerians, a mass in northern Nigeria, do not act out of religious issues. These are politically instigated, ethnic-based mass killings. And that's why this is the very first time in Nigeria's history, since the 50s, that those who kill Nigerians are being killed as terrorists. Don't forget that. All through Obasanjo's era, all those killed under the Sharia riots, there was no successful prosecution brought against one single soul. And that's been what it's been all along. You know why? I tell people, I say, maybe the Boko Haram and its bombing also do have strong teachings for us. Because pain unites our humanity. Everybody now seeks purpose to end this thing. And as far as I know, it will end. But ask yourself, how come all the leaders of Nigeria all along never did a thing when people were being killed in northern Nigeria? All along.
Not even in 1983?
In 1983, if it was stopped, I don't know what happened today. Because doing a thing...
But wasn't it stopped?
No, well, all those were lip service. They still continued. Under 1999,
The Metasine incident continued?
The Metasine, that was just a thing. You push them away to the borders of Cameroon, and then they came back. It's not pushing the boys away. It is killing the machinery and the mindset that advises for such. You have a lot of people in Nigeria who asymmetrically are not with Nigeria. Yes, they could talk to you and be smiling about it, but they just do not see you as human beings as they see themselves. I come from a place where killing human beings is the worst. But here in northern Nigeria, killing Nigerians for the past 5 generations, I have noticed with my eyes because I grew here in the north.
But you know, we cannot say that that's the case here because agencies are there to ensure that these kind of things don't happen.
Agencies, as at that time,
Even
don't forget what we have politically. It is the coming of an Ezoman that sees, his government now sees those who kill Nigerians in northern Nigeria, not as religiously instigated zealots. No, these are ethnically instigated political killings, so he calls it terrorism. And for the first time, the security services shoot at those who kill Nigerians. But from the days of the 80s, the 90s, the 70s, the Igbos reacted to the same mass killings in the 60s, and we went into civil war. Don't forget that. So, and we are still having it. But why wasn't anybody doing anything? Because those who were being killed were being perfectly selected for the kill. But because the bomb don't choose, when it kills everybody, and you know pain unites our humanity, now we seek purpose to end it. Yes, we will.
Are you speaking from the perspective of a security report or...
I am speaking from the truth about the history of my country that I have lived, not I was told. I have lived it here. I have seen time and time and time again in northern Nigeria, people killed in mass numbers, and nobody does a thing. And when we complain, say, no, leave it. It's religious riot. They are not religious riot. The government of northern Nigeria was established with blood.
But today,
from
what we see and talking about this challenge on our hands, security is viewing this as a serious matter and they are addressing it.
That is why you're seeing our sudden opposition of those who kill. Don't you remember, nobody could even talk like this before.
The way we are responding to these matters is had some criticisms across board.
The same way Israel responded to
we're not doing the right things.
When Israel had the same asymmetrical problem, it couldn't respond well. It took Israel time to now build new people within its space to be able to now find. Remember, there was a time when bombs were exploding every day in Jerusalem, in Jericho, and all over Israel. It took time because this is an asymmetrical war. You'll be talking to somebody, but because of his own loyalty to religious bond and tribal bond, he does not really feel that he's a Nigerian. You leave him, he goes and plants terrorism in a cell. So we now also need to reinvest our energies to find new strategies to deal with this issue. It is nothing new. It is simply because we've done nothing to arrest it well before now.
Ononojo, I've been listening to your theory, and you say that this is a price that Nigeria has to pay. That is one
for not standing up to violence, through the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, 80s till now. Me and you have lived here.
So,
and all decades of my life, it's been mass killings in northern Nigeria, but in different names.
that is, that is your theory. Then you now say, as to the one that happened 2 days ago, that was about APC primaries.
I think that was probably the APC primary started in earnest. They probably want to do primary through elimination. I suspected that was going to happen if they cannot get General Buhari not to be available to run.
Are you suggesting that 52 people were killed on the altar of politics? I mean, we have to be very careful.
We have just found out.
Just a moment, sir. We
Yes.
have to be very careful when we're talking about human lives. We're talking about terrorist attacks. We're talking about them in two different places. A sheikh was also attacked in a separate one. Some people died there. Many were also injured.
Yes.
And what gain does any political party have to
a
take
lot
out
of it was due to political activism.
just
political
one person
digging.
and then lose so many lives?
Remember
in
what
the
was said?
process?
It was politicians that said that if Goodluck ran election and won, they will make country ungovernable. Making country ungovernable is creating this kind of security mayhem.
There have been many statements. One of them was also from, the former NSA security advisor, God rest his soul, who said that Boko Haram would be taken care of if the PDP took care of its affairs. I do remember that. I don't know if you recall the particular statement.
That was right. Because what you're seeing in the PDP was the implosion in the PDP, which most of us like me describe on television as a tribal rebellion by a set of PDP members who believed that they had an entitlement to the presidency.
Mr. Onoju,
and that's where we are. The country is in crisis because of political implosions. So it doesn't matter the party where the man comes from.
Where do you get these theories from?
This is not a theory, it's an honest description of what we've seen. Me and you were in Nigeria when some people said, if the president ran and won, they would make country ungovernable. In validation of that promise, bombs go up everywhere. So if he went off in Kaduna yesterday, he didn't make it different from the same one that went up in Damaturu or in Yobe the other day. So all we're trying to say is those who promised to make country ungovernable seems to be having their ways.
But don't you think that we should let security agencies, those who are saddled with responsibility of investigating and find out what happened, come up with their findings before we come up with this kind of perceptions?
Well, we are citizens. It is also things we see, things we say, things we feel that also guide the security services to know. Because if you have crisis in your home, when they come, they will ask you, who did you quarrel with? Who do you have problem with? Who threatened you? And I will say, okay, somebody threatened me. He said if so and so thing happened, country will be made ungovernable. He said, somebody said that for what politics? I say, yes. Let me tell you one
That
truth.
doesn't always mean it's the case.
The Sultan and a lot of leaders have said that the increase in violence is due to politics. And I want you to believe me now. The more Goodluck increases his campaign for re-election, the more those who are against his political success will sustain their advice for the increase in violence.
But again,
I'm a Nigerian. I don't need to come from the moon to know that.
But we'll wait for the authorities, the security agencies. They've got to investigate. The courts have got to make their findings or verdicts so that you can predicate all these views on those ones. That's when they can be
I
valid, don't you
speak
think?
with experience as Nigerian that has lived here.
All right.
If I have been here and people have been killed all these decades, all these years, it doesn't take too much for me to find out and put two and two together. This is the same thing.
Thank you for coming on this morning. Catching on the Jews, a public affairs analyst. We'll be back after this. Join us again. Well, that's the show for the week. We thank you all for letting us be a part of your week. We'll see you next time. I'm Chamberlain also.
Oh, thank you. I'm Maupe Ogun.
Well, who knows which city will pop up in again. Well, many thanks. I'm Sulaiman. There.
Bye-bye.